here with the whole Organizing for Better Tomorrow crew. We're called us a crew. That was weird. We're here. We're here to talk about a bunch of things going on. We left off with an election excitement the other day on the call previously, where we were discussing the race in New Jersey, which technically has still not been called technically, but I feel like that's a real technicality because of New Jersey election laws. Apparently, they let people's ballots come in much later, within a reasonable amount of time. So they are curing ballots until the 17th, which is, people's ballots are not counting for some reason. So they have a process where you come in and try and cure it, and that goes on for another week, a little longer. So we're probably not going to have an official count on that, but she has, I think, a 900 vote lead, which just shows every vote counts. And there's, I think, somewhere around between 92 and 94% of the vote counted. There were like, what was it? What were we at? 4,500 votes left to count.
4,800 votes to count and 93.1.
Right, and that's an estimate. Those are mostly mail-in ballots that are coming in on election day. And also keep in mind, if you do mail-in ballots, really, really important to talk about how you need to put your mail-in ballot earlier this year than previous years, because the post office has changed how they postmark. So depending on your state rules, it might be a good idea to stay ahead of that, just to make sure your vote is counted on time. I think personally the mail drop-offs are the way to go. Avoid the post office altogether and put it in your one of these drop-offs. Like Los Angeles, California, we have them all over the place. It's very handy. So that's the thing. Also, I feel like you can't help but talk about the world is ran by a secret group of pedophiles has really gone from conspiracy theory to reality faster than anyone thought it could. I do see repercussions happening in other parts of the world. Like, I see people having to step down from positions. And, I mean, if you talk to Epstein after 2008, I don't feel like you really have, like, a place in formal society. And so that's seeing a real shift. And everyone keeps saying, I feel like it's very dangerous. People say no one is going to be held accountable. No one is going to be held accountable. I hear this so much. And I just feel like that is the wrong way to go with it. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like when they say, there's no need to vote. Trump's going to rig all the elections. Well, that sounds like something somebody who's trying to rig all the elections would say. I mean, am I wrong here?
Yeah. No, people must be held accountable, and people must vote.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think they're making this big a deal out of voting if it didn't matter. It's kind of like, why would voting not matter if they're spending billions of dollars every year to control how people vote? Like, if it didn't matter, why are they spending all that money?
Yeah.
Seems pretty straightforward. As we know from these rich people, they don't spend a dollar that they don't have to. So that's a thing. We also have a new COVID variant. Well, it's a new old COVID variant popping up. We are a COVID conscious show, trying to give the information as we can. We have an XDV1, right, popping up on the wastewater charts at about 5%. Now, it did show up. This variant was really big in China, and now it's making its way back to America. It had been here at about 8% levels back in like August sort of era, but it kind of dippered out. But this is going to kind of get into a long explanation about how this, in my opinion, looking at the study on it, it possesses a specific mutation called, let's see, I have it right here. It is L455S, and it does reduce ACE2 binding affinity, but it increases infectivity. Now, if you've been following our show for a long time, we do a lot of variant talk and discussions about which variant is going to be next, and we have participated with the FDA and CDC, both administrations, in choosing a variant for the vaccines. We've actually helped make decisions on that. I've been very fortunate that my presentations have been viewed and taken very seriously by members of the committee, both, like I said, through both administrations. And you can watch those discussions. They're available for people to look at. And they basically... it's very complicated because you got two lines of thinking. You got the everything mutates linearly, where it will progressively grow in a straight line, and you have it's kind of more like a curve where the variants behind it become like XFG has gone on for so long, and there's so many subvariants that people who got the initial XFG are now again vulnerable to the later XFG because of how the immune evasion works. So even though we call it all one variant, it's actually a bunch of different variants. That's why I don't like the Stratus, Nimbus, Cletus talk where they're trying to name all the variants after different things, because it's actually this huge grouping of variants that all have different impacts, though similar. They have similar immune profiling, but as they get further from each other, they gain immune evasion. So it's like a circle. It's like cycles back cyclically. So you now have people who are at the beginning of XFG who are able to get infected by the later XFG, and this is where a variant like what are we on now? XVE, right, or XDV? Sorry, XDV1. Right, is now able to come back because it has the increase in infectivity, and then when you combine that infectivity with the immune evasion of XFG, that's going to give us our next big variant. This is what we've been talking about for a long time. It's going to come down to because it's ACE2 binding affinity, immune evasion, and infectivity are your three major ones. And ACE2 binding can cross-section with infectivity, but when you actually get that increase in infectious capability, all it needs is immune evasion to whatever you had before, and everybody is going to be a huge wave. It's probably going to build through the spring, and it's probably we're getting a glimpse into what our summer wave is going to be. So, that sucks. that sucks. Because I don't know. I feel like we're really not prepared for. Look at what's going on with the measles. Like, I feel like we're not containing that at all. Like,
no, we're sure not. Like, we're seeing more and more of it in Florida right now.
Yeah.
Even in Pinellas County, they've reported a few cases at a local high school, so that's going great.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm concerned that we could be, like, that if it continues spreading. I don't really know a lot about measles mutation as I do COVID. Like, I know a ton about COVID mutations. I don't know a ton about measles mutation, and we didn't study mutational stuff as well back when we have a great vaccine, so we don't really. How do you check it? And they can do advanced.
Well, just off the top of my head, though, I mean, I think because the vaccine has continued to be effective, I think I know that it mutates much more slowly than a coronavirus, because coronavirus is crazy mutate. But right. I think mucus is a pretty stable virus.
That was my understanding too, but I mean, at any point, stability is what we know it until it's not, right? So it's sort of like the more we're letting people.
And these days.
Yeah, exactly. In these days, you're like, are we risking making our measles vaccine? Are we risking like new measles variants? And this is sort of like where the discussion I feel like should be going, because we talk about all this risk. It's like, well, at what point does that risk start affecting the vaccinated population? And that's why COVID is so scary when you think about its immune suppression, because vaccines only work as well as your immune system too. So it's sort of like that seems like a significant argument, part of the conversation. We kind of leave out that if your immune system isn't functioning, your vaccines don't work either. I mean, take that, do what you will with it, right?
Yeah.
But and this is just you're like, well, okay, so you're suppressing people's immune systems, and it just goes on and on and on, and all these things suppress immune systems. So it's just I wish I had something more uplifting to say about it, but it's actually not a good situation. It's just not a good situation.
You heard any Lion King jokes lately?
What's that?
Just kidding. I'm just trying to lighten the mood in like a really not light way.
No, it's been it's like having a couple of measles outbreaks. It's not like it happens. People act like it never happens. It happens. It's definitely a thing that happens. It would be like 6-7 cases. It would be just a couple of usually entirely unvaccinated, and you also just like. I don't know. The one thing I will say is we've talked a lot about it. And Malone wrote this giant paper on it, which is annoying because now I'm going to sound like I'm repeating what Malone is saying on the ACIP, which is talking about the IgG4 and mRNA COVID vaccines because it's all kind of in the same subject line, because you have the potential that if kids got vaccinated for measles when they got the COVID vaccines and we're in that high IgG4 period, which only happens in kids or first exposure. So kids are almost always first exposure, so it's more likely to happen with kids. Adults, it's not really a problem. It's perfectly fine for adults. You shouldn't get 2 at a time, but other than that, it's fine. But the possibility that it made these other vaccines less effective, because we are seeing more vaccinated or semi-vaccinated population in the measles cases. And I wonder if in the process, if we can finally get them, after years of trying, to switch to Novavax for kids using the Nuvaxovid that doesn't have the IgG4 problem, it might actually fix part of the measles spread if it's related to the vaccines being made less effective by immune being in that period. So it's kind of funny how on one hand they're making the measles worse, but they might actually do something that could make it all a lot better accidentally. Don't give them any credit because they don't deserve it, but I feel like there's a little bit of irony that the two problems end up actually kind of like helping each other in a weird sort of way, and I don't think they get that. But we do have an ACIP coming up. Did they ever post the public comment for ACIP? I feel like that should have happened, and it has not come across. Like,
yeah, we're getting closer and closer.
Isn't it just in a couple of days, and we haven't heard anything yet? So I'm surprised, to be completely fair. I'm surprised that they're still even bothering going through the motions with ACIP.
What's the point when they're just going to make it up as before the meeting?
Right? Yeah, they're just going to do whatever they want anyways. So why are we even playing that game? It's a weird thing. We should still do comment if you can make comment, and I don't think we used to do these campaigns where we would connect with the people directly. We'd dig up their academic emails because they were academics, and we would reach out to them for like whatever reason. And I don't know if it'll be as effective with this group of people.
I don't even know whether it's worth doing, because damn.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
They would say there's such an illegitimate group, and then they just and then the RFK and everybody just go ahead and do what they want to do anyway.
Yeah, it does seem like they're just going to do whatever they want to do, and there's not. On the bright side, they're being like, no one's going along with it. Like, they're being admonished all over the world. Like, apparently, there's talk that like countries are now talking about how like the science from America is totally not worth listening to, and there is also some concern that we're never going to get our elections back under control. Yeah, okay, we'll talk more about that in a second. I don't think, for all the concern, I don't think it's possible for them to do what they're talking about doing for a lot of reasons, but it's changing subjects too quickly. We'll get there in a minute.
About ACIP.
Speaking of what?
I was going to say about ACIP, I don't